The 1970s were a magical and unforgettable time for children, a decade defined by creativity, imagination, and a sense of wonder that came from the simplest of toys. In a world before screens and instant entertainment, every toy, game, and plaything held immense value. They were not merely objects to pass the time, they were tools for learning, storytelling, and bonding. The toys children played with told stories of childhood ingenuity, community, and joy. And though many of these items have vanished from stores today, their memories linger, carrying the echoes of laughter, imagination, and the spirit of a generation. One of the most cherished toys was the Light-Brite, a seemingly simple box that held endless possibilities. Children would carefully place tiny, colorful pegs into a black screen to form glowing images that came alive when a light shone from behind. Each creation was a labor of love, a small masterpiece of color, shape, and patience. Kids spent hours designing intricate patterns, experimenting with combinations, and showing off their creations to friends and family. The joy of Light-Brite was not just in the final image, but in the process, the focused attention, the pride of accomplishment, and the wonder of seeing their own designs illuminated, filling a room with a warm, soft glow that felt almost magical. Families often displayed these glowing pictures on windows or walls, celebrating not just a toy, but the imaginative spirit of a child at play. Another toy that captured the hearts and minds of children was the Spirograph, a set of plastic gears and wheels that allowed kids to create mesmerizing, intricate geometric patterns. At first, the possibilities seemed endless and overwhelming, but the act of turning, rotating, and experimenting taught patience, precision, and creativity. Watching a simple pencil trace across the paper, forming loops and curves that intertwined into beautiful, symmetrical designs, children learned the joy of discovery and the satisfaction of completing something entirely on their own. Parents often marveled at how these small plastic pieces could hold a child's attention for hours, inspiring not only art, but focus, problem-solving, and the thrill of accomplishment. The era's role-playing toys were equally impactful. G.I. Joe action figures, with their array of accessories and vehicles, allowed children, especially boys, to imagine adventurous worlds filled with heroes and daring missions. Barbie dolls, on the other hand, opened doors to storytelling, fashion, and domestic imagination for girls. These dolls and figures were more than plastic. They were vessels for dreams, guiding children through problem-solving, negotiation, and creative expression. Children often crafted entire worlds around them, improvising props from household items, turning living rooms and backyards into dynamic stages for adventure, friendship, and imagination. The toys may have been affordable and simple, but their influence on a child's development was profound, teaching lessons about empathy, strategy, and collaboration without the need for screens or high-tech distractions. Board games were another cornerstone of childhood in the 1970s, bringing families together for evenings filled with laughter, conversation, and connection. Games like Operation Guess Who and The Game of Life were more than a pastime. They were opportunities for children to learn about chance, strategy, and the joy of playing together. Each roll of the dice, each card drawn, each move on the board carried anticipation, teaching patience and resilience while fostering familial bonds. Parents witnessed their children navigating rules, practicing fairness, and celebrating both victories and defeats, moments that created lasting memories and stories shared around the table for years to come. Even the simplest, most overlooked toys held immense significance. Yo-yos, for example, provided hours of entertainment as children perfected tricks, competed with friends, and challenged their own coordination and skill. The rhythmic click-clack of the yo-yo became a soundtrack to neighborhood play, echoing down sidewalks and playgrounds. Similarly, jacks, marbles, and puzzle cubes were more than idle pastimes. They were lessons in dexterity, patience, and persistence. Kids gathered in schoolyards or living rooms, comparing collections, trading techniques, and sharing the joy of discovery. Each small game fostering social bonds and friendly competition. Electronic toys and games were just beginning to emerge, but even in their simplicity, they captured the imagination. Simon, a game of memory and reflexes, challenged children to remember sequences of lights and sounds, blending fun with mental exercise. These early electronic toys introduced a generation to the potential of technology, while still encouraging hands-on interaction, social play, and the satisfaction of mastering a skill. Arts and crafts were inseparable from playtime in the 1970s. Toys like Crayola crayons, coloring books, and bead sets offered endless possibilities for personal expression. Children could spend hours creating drawings, jewelry, or decorations, learning to follow patterns or experiment freely, developing both fine motor skills and creative confidence. Parents often participated, guiding and encouraging, making the act of creating a shared experience that strengthened bonds and nurtured pride in a child's accomplishments. Outdoor toys were equally significant, providing an escape into the world beyond the home. Hula hoops, jump ropes, and scooters were affordable, simple, and endlessly entertaining. Children learned coordination, teamwork, and perseverance, racing with friends on sidewalks, inventing games, or competing to see who could keep the hula hoop spinning the longest. The simplicity of these toys encouraged children to engage with one another, inventing new rules, games, and challenges, relying on imagination rather than pre-packaged entertainment. Some toys were deeply rooted in cultural tradition, like Lincoln logs or building blocks, teaching spatial awareness, engineering principles, and creativity. Other toys, such as board puzzles or educational kits, encouraged problem-solving and exploration, blending fun with subtle lessons about the world. Each item, no matter how small or seemingly ordinary, contributed to a child's development, shaping skills and memories that would last a lifetime. Looking back, the toys and games of the 1970s were more than entertainment. They were instruments of joy, education, and memory. They encouraged imagination, resourcefulness, social connection, and problem-solving. They taught children the value of patience, the satisfaction of creation, and the beauty of shared experiences. Though many of these toys have disappeared from stores, their influence remains in the stories of those who grew up in that era, in the laughter of remembered play, and in the timeless lessons of creativity, community, and the simple pleasures of childhood.